it wasn't until the birth of my firstborn son. My son was born a little less than 6 months, 2 pounds, 1 ounce. We're in the preemie ward. And every day there's one less family. That means that the baby died. There's all kind of problems. One of the problems was that they couldn't guarantee the blood supply at the time was not HIV/AIDS tainted in the hospital. So my dad and I, we overcame that. You know, we became my son's blood supply, and we knew where our blood had been. That solved that problem. But every day there was one less family, one less family, one less family. It was just breaking my heart. I was witnessing, ministering, praying. You know, families would come together and we'd hold on to each other. But eventually I'm about the last one left. They called me in the office. I hated that. I knew what that meeting was going to be about. The hospital said, well, nothing else we could do for your son. Want you to sign these papers. And when you sign the papers, you'll be relieving the hospital of any responsibility for the death of your son. We're just going to keep him comfortable. Well, I refused to sign the papers. I told the physician that I knew a greater physician than him. And if he wasn't telling me that, I wasn't going to accept it. Well, the doctor, he didn't like that. You know, we argued, but I refused to sign it. So I went home that night. You ever had a problem and you just went home and you just prayed all night long, you know, really on your heart? I had that kind of problem. My son was going to die. And so I didn't get a word, not one word from God. I can't sleep. I'm up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I go back to the preemie ward and it's just me there now. I'm holding my son in the palm of my right hand. He's down to 1.9. It's not looking good. I mean, at 1.9, I mean, it's like silverware, you know, fork, knife, spoon, wasn't much to him. But this time was different. This time was different. Instead of paying attention to the needles and the tubes and the bandages and the hospital apparatuses all around him, you know, I was beholding him. I was looking at his eyes and looking at his toes and his fingers, and I began to realize that my son looks just like me. And that's when God talked to me. Again, he said, Walter, he said, this is what's supposed to be on the inside of a woman. And when he told me that, I instantly knew what abortion was and what abortion does. And I've been pro-life ever since. Can't go back.